Hi, I'm Lenora. I'm the creator of The Bitchy Bookkeeper, and I am currently in a little guest house in an RV resort in British Columbia, Canada, because the cabin where I'm staying has no Wi-Fi.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I still have Wi-Fi, but I am moving, which is why I'm sitting between these boxes.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm the founder of The Uprising Spark, and I'm still in Colombia, and it's really hot down here. And we are the three founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing a bingo card, basically. A bingo card is a collection of questions and statements that Childfree people get from other people, usually parents, when we tell them we want to have kids. And so they're like, oh, you're kind of shirking your responsibility to society. And then a bingo ensues. So bingo is a noun and it's also a verb. You can get bingoed. Yeah, you can Google bingo card, Childfree bingo card, and you'll find a bunch of them. So today we're going to just discuss a few of those and give you guys our point of view on what we think they mean in reality.
It's not as dirty as Isabel just made it sound, by the way.
Yeah, she almost made it sound sexy.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Well, sexy is different than dirty. Well, they can be one and the same. I guess
they can be one and the same.
So, who wants to kick us off?
Is your biological clock is ticking? It's so objectively scientific. You know, it kind of reduces it to this to I don't know, any other kind of almost like a science experiment. Like if you don't pour that solution into the test tube at this precise time, you're not going to get the desired explosion or smoke mist or something. And that's not a very romantic way to think about having children anyway.
Well, no, and it also has the undercurrent of like, okay, your life is going to be meaningless if you don't start doing this soon, right? And I guess it depends on what the context of the conversation, but generally it's such a flippant remark. People just say it. Again, is it one of those things that that just automatically comes out of our mouth because we've heard it so many times? And it's just a thing that society says that's what we say. It's a saying. And half the time, you know, it could be a joke or just kind of like a gentle nudging from your mother-in-law or father-in-law or whoever. But to me, it's just, again, it comes down to the whole meaning of life type thing. Like, you know, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it, which we'll get into later. But
you know, it's funny that you say a gentle nudge. To me, it's not a gentle anything. It's totally passive aggressive. It's like that clock is actually attached to a bomb, you know. And it's speaking, so you might as well just like make it stop by having a child. It's passive aggressive. I don't know. I don't think anyone's actually bingoed me with that one specifically. Because maybe in Spanish it doesn't really translate.
Do they just say maybe you're getting old?
Yeah, maybe they tell you something like, you know, it's at some point you're not going to be able to have your own kids. You know, I mean, you know that women's childbearing ages go up to, I don't know, 35 or whatever. It is another way of saying it, I guess. But the expression in English, I find it a little bit passive aggressive.
So who's next on choosing a bingo?
Lenora.
Okay, which one pisses me off the most? Let's see. It's a toss-up between the regret and who will take care of you when you're old. I'm going to go with the regret bingo. Where is that here? Is that on here? It's not on here.
What if you regret it is not on here?
How can that not be on here? That's like a big one.
I know. We put it on ours. We'll talk about that.
Oh, I can't believe that regret thing. Just because I had this conversation a couple days ago with somebody. We were talking about Christopher Walken, and I mentioned just offhandedly, oh, he chose not to have kids, and there was an article about it. And the person was like, oh, well, he's not acting that much anymore. I wonder if he regrets it not having kids now because he's not acting that much. I'm like, dude, he spent his entire life living how he wanted to. Why would I don't understand. I mean, you know, how could you regret living a life that you wanted to live and then suddenly you don't have something that other people do? Like, I'm sorry. I just want to smack that person. Okay, that's not on here. So I'm going to go with who will take care of you when you are old on this burrito bingo card.
So when people say that,
there is okay.
they're
So
genuinely concerned for you. Do you think they really are afraid you're not going to get taken care of? I mean,
it has nothing to do with you. That's the question that they're worried about for themselves. They don't. I mean, come on, somebody on the street. I mean, nobody. If you think about it, even the people that are closest to you on a day-to-day basis, on an hourly basis, who is actually thinking about you aside from yourself? Everyone is so busy with their own lives and with their own bubble. No one's actually concerned who's going to take care of you because they're busy with their own lives trying to figure that out for themselves. So I always get the feeling like if someone says that to me, it's a question that they're wondering themselves, and perhaps they have had children for that reason. So they figure they have it covered on their end. But because I've chosen not to have kids, well, yeah, who's going to take care of you? But it doesn't really concern them because they're hoping that their own children will take care of them. And then they think they don't have to think about it. But we all know, I mean, look at old folks' homes, and okay, I'm going to spew a little bit here because I actually, on a meme I did this morning for my own stuff, I wrote something about it, and I want to talk more about this on a separate platform. But I had an ill mother for my entire entire childhood. My mom was sick. We didn't know why. She didn't really talk to us a lot about it, but I had a sick mom, and then she died when she was 47. And first of all, caregiving is exhausting. She never once expected me and my brother to take care of her because we were children. And then as teenagers, mom always pushed us to have our own lives. And I remember towards the end of her life, she was in the hospital. She was in ICU, which is the intensive care unit. And my brother, who was 18 at the time, I was 21, 22. She told me, and she told my brother, that she never wanted us to be obligated to visit her in the hospital. Like, I had a full-time teaching practice. My brother was just out of high school trying to find a job. And it's emotionally exhausting when you are dealing with an unwell parent at that age, let alone when you are 40, 50, 60, having your own household to run. You know, I mean, I'm not brought up in a culture where we take care of the elderly per se. Like, here we have,
how sweet.
you know, like, it's just, it's not how I was brought up. It's not part of the dialogue. Like, we have elder care, we have hospice units, like, we have care, like proper care for that, right? Like, I don't come from a long generation of people who takes care of their elders, and I don't mean that in a bad thing.
I know.
My mom made it very clear, like, it was not our responsibility, even as teenagers and early 20s, to take care of her. And my dad, who is healthy in his mid 60s, intends on having a long life. He's physically fit, he's financially stable. He has always promoted us to be so that, and to have friends who are younger, and not to rely on, and he comes from a big family, and his dad died alone after having 16 kids. Like, there's just, I have an issue with that because people just get stuck in their own little bubble that nothing else exists outside of themselves, and their kids are going to have to be stuck caregiving. And the point is, caregiving is hard. Caregiving is easy. It's emotionally exhausting.
Like, you shouldn't wish that on your children.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you don't know. I mean, what if you have a child that never becomes a functioning adult, meaning they have disabilities, meaning they need care themselves their entire life. You know, we all just assume
a whole other issue.
Yeah. Well, no, I know. I mean, people just make assumptions that you're going to birth healthy children. They're going to actually like you when they become adults, because we all know that's not always the case. You know, people just assume that everything's going to be hunky-dory, like, for the children, and they're going to want to look after you. But what if they decide to move to another country and set up shop and have families of their own or whatever, and you never see them because that's the life they chose? Like, and then you expect them to come back and put their life on hold to take care of you because you never set something up for yourself. I mean, it annoys me because I know there's an alternative, and I cannot articulate it well yet. I'm trying to, but I can't. There are other options, and you don't have to be afraid of those other options. So someone else can talk now.
I think it's disgusting when people are like, I'm going to have children because I need somebody to take care of me when I'm old. Like, children are not a fucking retirement plan. I mean, I agree with everything that you said, Lenora, in the sense that there's just so many variables that can come to, like, at play here, that in the end, you can have 5 children, 16, 20, whatever, and maybe none of them is going to fucking take care of you when you're old because maybe you're a bad person, or
And even if you are a nice person, I mean, these are free thinking people. And also, the person asking you this, you could ask them back, do you want to do that for 20 years of your life?
God,
Do you
no.
want to are you planning to take care of your aging parent? Are you guys planning on taking care of your aging parents?
I'm hoping I'm hoping I don't have to. But this is the thing, in my culture, that's really normal. That's like very,
Yeah.
it's like it's a given, basically, that people in the family take care of the young and they take care of the old. So there's a point in your life when you have to take care of a lot of people. So,
How does that affect somebody that wants to go off and do something different?
there
You
is this
know?
there is this emotional toll that it takes, and I can tell you from my own experience, there is an emotional toll that you have to face when you try to make a decision to go away or somebody, because you feel guilty about leaving somebody, your family behind. Maybe they need you for something, whatever it is.
But in terms of people telling people who's going to take care of you, I wonder if part of it is that they did do it for that reason. But I wonder if it's also, wait a minute, you're not doing it for that reason. Well, who's going to take care of you? And silently, could I have actually not done this and taken care of myself? Like, what if I had researched this more, I might have figured out that I don't need to have a kid to take care of me. Oh no. I mean, I wonder if there is an element of that fear, or that kind of what did I do? I didn't have to do this.
So it's almost like a genuine curiosity as the alternative.
I think it might be a fear. It's almost like how did you do that? How come I didn't think to do that? How are you gonna? Oh no! Just kind of like a oh shit.
It's like realizing that they had other options.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, because we don't see, child-free people have not been very public about older years and stuff like that. So when we don't see alternatives, which is changing, that's going to change, because as we've said in previous episodes, we're still going to be doing this when we are 86 and Kristen will be 96. We'll be documenting our elder journey on whatever form of Zoom exists.
I'll be the most 70-year-old, 96-year-old you've ever seen.
I'm sure you will.
If you've only ever seen a certain way being presented, of course, like, what do it's not. I'm always amazed that people just don't think of alternatives, but that's just because I, for some reason, happen to. And not everyone's
old like, since you were 12.
That's true. I aged in reverse. Yeah, I was born old. Absolutely. I'm like mid-teens right now.
Okay, my turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the bingo that just annoys me the most is children are a woman's greatest achievement.
Oh, I wanted to use that one too. Fun.
There's so many things about it that I feel are so wrong. But I want to hear you guys first. So tell me.
What I really hate and love about that, well, okay, so when it's not, okay, so if someone says that, what I think, I'd like to try to analyze where it's coming from and why someone would say that to someone else. And if someone says children are a woman's greatest achievement, they either truly believe that or they desperately, desperately need to believe it. Because, I've had moments as a writer not as successful as I would like to be, when I've thought, because sometimes I'll feel really guilty that Ian makes it possible for me to stay home and write. So because so much of society is focused on the importance of bringing in money, it's really easy to feel like not bringing in money means you are worthless, and that can make it awkward when you're writing at home and not making. I make a little bit of money every month, but it might buy a coffee. So I have reached points of guilt about this where I've thought, God, if I just had kids, this would all be taken care of, because then I would be taking care of them and I wouldn't have to feel like I should be doing anything else. And I just wonder if it's because everyone believes having kids is a woman's greatest achievement that I'm pretty sure I could get away with doing nothing, not having any kind of personal, I wouldn't have to worry about failure at something if I had kids, because nobody would expect anything else of me, and I could be too busy to do. I have no time. I just could. I mean, I might write if I had the time, but obviously I don't have the time because you see, I have these children.
But that works for maybe 20 years, and then when the children grow up and leave home, then what?
Oh, then
I mean,
you're allowed to be empty nesters traveling the world and enjoying your youth for the first time.
see,
At the tender age of 60.
I guess this is one of the things about being born old is that I just felt I didn't know how to express my potential, and I didn't realize it'll take a lifetime to express my potential, and that's fine. But I didn't want to wait, you know. I've always had this ambitious drive, and and for a long time, for 20 years, it was music, and I didn't like hearing how the women spoke about themselves, and they didn't have anything interesting to say. I mean, the ones that were mothers, and I mean, the women I knew wanted to be mothers, but now I go, well, did they want to be mothers, or were they groomed to be mothers like the rest of us? And that was a life that they chose. But really, there was just something inside me that did not like that did not resonate with that. So when someone says, "Oh, a greatest gift is a child," no. I mean, babies are born all the time, and there are so many miserable human beings in this world that don't actually get to live lives that they actually want, and they were all babies. It doesn't add up to me.
Bingo's on us.
Yeah. It doesn't add up. If that were true,
a woman's greatest achievement to children are a woman's greatest gift.
Like
you bingo jacked.
Okay. I'll have to hear what you said in playback because
yeah, say because it's a different thing. I mean, saying that a child is a gift, it's a little bit what's the word? Cheesy. But saying that a child is a woman's greatest achievement to me is an insult. It's like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter
100%.
how much, it doesn't matter what else you do in life. It doesn't matter what else you achieve. You can go to school, you can have a PhD, you could find fucking cure for cancer. It doesn't matter. If you have a child, that is going to trump everything else.
Which, hey, think about it. You know that other bingo, well, what if your child is meant to cure cancer? Well, apparently that's not going to be good enough. The only good thing that they can do is have another child. Well, come on.
Exactly.
Do people not listen to them, like hear what's coming out of their mouth? Seriously.
I think you're supposed to have a boy child.
Oh yeah, because boys are the ones that cure everything. Women, we don't cure anything. We're just popping out kids. That's what. That's what we have to do in the world. But if I the whole thing, because it's like, oh yes, I mean, you've achieved this, you've made this, life for yourself. That is, in my case, I fucking love my life, and everyone can say, you've made this life for you that is fucking amazing. But Maria here or Juanita here or whoever, they have a child and you don't. They can have shitty lives. Doesn't matter. They have a child, so they're better than you.
And it's worse. It's like parallel to it being an insult. It's it has the effect of those tools you use to stuff coffee down to flatten it out and tamp it down like a little coffee ground tamper thingy. That's what it's doing to your potential. All it's saying is, don't worry about the other pursuits. Don't worry about the other passions. You don't need to do those. Your greatest achievement is motherhood. Focus on that, dear.
Exactly.
Because it's hard to make something out of your dream, out of your passion. It really is. I mean, Kristen, you were talking a minute ago about your writing, and you have hopes for your writing, and just the feeling of, well, the financial aspect of it too. I mean, it's, people say that parenthood is hard, and I'm not knocking that, but going after something that you believe in, that you want to achieve for yourself, is difficult because it's not always supported. there are a bazillion factors, and failure is a given for most of us. You just have to channel it in a certain way for it to become successful. But it's not easy to. And then when you're having all these bingos flying at you and expectations from society, it's not easy to pursue a life that's different from what you see around you. It's not easy to pursue your dream. Mm-hmm. You can talk about it till the cows come home, but to actually go and do it, it's not easy. I mean, I look at my personal Facebook page of late. I mean, I'm on a 3-week road trip, and I'm basically road tripping from June till October this year because I can. But I'm also spending 10 hours a day content creating because there's something I'm building that's it takes a long time to build, and it may never get to the level I want it to be, but because I want it to be at a big level, and it's not easy to continue doing that.
Will your thing that you're building, will it ever love you back?
People will love it, and that's good enough for me.
It doesn't have the dun, 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 heartbeat.
Actually, that's not true. No, because I am putting my heart and soul into that, and that is fulfilling.
Love. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it pays the bills, or it will pay the bills, and that's. I'm sorry if I had to choose money over love. I'm sorry, money pays the bills. Money allows me to live the way I want to live. Pardon?
It's so much fun to be the deliverer of the bingos. It's so easy. It's like
it is easy. It is easy. And that's the thing, because it's easy to just say something and then walk away, but to actually have a conversation, if you try and bring that bingoer into the conversation, what happens? They kind of go, or then they throw another bingo at you.
And you know what? Not a single one of those bingos on that whole bingo card has any interest in the actual child that those bingos are trying to get you to have. It's all about trying to put you in either the position they want you to be in because they're there and they don't like it themselves and they're like, help.
Yeah.
Or something, but it's all about
it's all about you.
Have baby.
Yeah. It's all selfish based if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if somebody has ever gotten bingoed by somebody saying, don't you want to bring a child into this world and take really good care of him or her and raise him to be a really fine human being? That's not
a bingo.
And that's the type of thing that should go on these bingo cards, because that actually, that is really, if you're going to have a kid, consciously, if you're choosing to have a kid, that's what you want to do.
There is that one on the bingo card. There is one like that, and it is people like you should have kids because you're either a good person or something. Yeah. I'm kind of guessing that it's more racially motivated, but let's just go.
You made me think of my grandfather, my mom's dad, who was worried because my mom was marrying a black man and was worried that she would have her biracial children would have issues. Hello. It came to mind. He wasn't wrong, but we are here. So, yeah.
Yeah, so there's really no widely accepted bingo that is focused on the child.
No.
Okay, so anyone that's dealing with bingos or struggling on how to deal with bingos, they have this thing where you can ask, if someone questions you, you can just throw another question back. But, sometimes when it's thrown in your face and you're not prepared for the conversation and you kind of go, you kind of freeze up and responding back to that. Do we have any advice for people to kind of ease into the conversation or ease out of the conversation without, if they don't want to bring more attention to this?
I think you can avoid answering it and also maybe learn more about them and even possibly diffuse a potentially irritating situation. If they say something, if they ask you a bingo question, you might just say, that's interesting. It's a really interesting question. Why would you ask me that? What made you ask that? I've never been asked that before. But if they say something that's more of a declarative thing, you could even say the same thing. Just say, oh, now why would you say that? What makes you think that? And just be genuine about it. Pretend One of the things I have been trying to do to avoid having an instinctively angry reaction is to try to approach things with compassion and assume that there's a reason this person is saying this. They're not intending to be cruel, and even if they are, I don't think it's because they're cruel people. I think it's because there's something, and Lenora has said this before, there's something going on with them, and it's making them either lash out or express their resentment or envy or dissatisfaction in some kind of way that makes them seem angry at you. But if you consider that as a possibility and show compassion for them and be caring toward them, asking a question like that genuinely and sincerely, interesting, why do you ask me that? You know, maybe you'll get an answer, and you're also taking the attention off of you.
Yeah, because people who are, who are parents who usually in that situation they go, oh, well, yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting to have kids. Love my kids. But you know what? Don't blame you. But usually I've found it's those that are pushing back or who are bingoing you in kind of a aggressive manner. Yeah, there's something else going on behind the surface, and maybe they want to talk.
Yeah, it could be a really good conversation. I mean, you could have a really meaningful back and forth.
Yeah. And then also, too, it takes the sting out of, or the worry, because I don't know if this has happened to you, too, but when I was, in my 20s, I used to kind of prepare answers ahead of time if I was going into a social situation where I know that I would be asked about, when having kids. And so it would take a lot of energy out of me trying to think of responses because I'd want to just kind of have my answers prepared. I used to do that a lot. And it was exhausting.
I like playing dumb. I mean, I like what Kristen said in the way that, sometimes people can ask you because they're hurting. There's something that is, they haven't resolved within themselves or whatever. They want to be cruel. And when you play dumb, kind of like, just look at them like this and go, why do you ask me that? They usually
question.
Yeah.
I'm a girl.
That works really well. But for me, what I really like to do sometimes is if I get bingoed or I get asked something, and it's a parent, somebody that I know has children, I would also ask them. I would be in return. I would ask them, "Why did you have children?"
And you've done that?
Is that the reason you had children?
Have you ever done that? Have you ever put
Yeah,
that into
yeah, I've done it. They usually don't have a straight answer.
Really?
They usually don't have it because if you think about it, most people, not all, but most people who have had children, they don't really go deep in thought before they make the decision. So they usually don't have a straight answer. But if somebody says to you, "Oh, who's going to take care of you when you're old?" for example, and you go, "Is that what you had children?" It's going to make them really, really uncomfortable. So just return bingo.
I wish somebody would say that to me now so I could do that like Isabel. Oh, is that why you had children?
Exactly.
Good luck with that. I hope it works out.
How does that work compared to doing that online to somebody? I'm thinking of some of the Twitter conversations that Childfree Girls Twitter have gotten involved in over the last few months.
In written form, when it comes on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whichever platform, I think the best thing to do there, and we've done this before, we've seen it we've done it in our social media platforms, is to really ask the question. And usually if it's not a troll who's there just to piss us off or whatever, it usually opens up really interesting conversations. And it usually ends up in people saying, and I've said this before, in people saying things like, "Thank you for opening up the perspective for me. I hadn't thought about it this way." And that's a good thing because it helps normalize the conversation.
Yeah. I think too, if maybe this is the point I was trying to make earlier and my brain kind of shut off, but oh yeah, when I said that I would prepare ahead of time to kind of combat or get prepared for this onslaught of when are you going to have kids in my 20s. At that point, I was still kind of afraid to talk about it openly, but I think the more you have those conversations with people, whatever stage you're at in your child-free journey, you can start off simple, but then you're not so afraid in the social setting to say, no, I don't want to have kids. You don't have to make, maybe you don't have to make up an excuse or say I can't have kids or whatever you do to kind of deflect. But if we all get to the point where we're comfortable enough to reply to a bingo in a way that invites a conversation, it takes the sting out of it on both ends. It opens up a dialogue, and it's actually kind of incredible where these conversations can go. Mm-hmm. And, it's not to change anybody's mind. And sometimes I wonder if, to a few people that have said, bingoed me, wondering if they want me to change my mind on the spot and say, oh, that's a good point. Well, maybe I should have kids because then someone will take care of me. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, is that their intention? And there's no way of knowing unless I ask them that. But I think, the more people are comfortable talking about not having kids to people who are adamant that we should have them, it just benefits everybody. And then you don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. That eventually melts away. Because for some reason, some people think that the people that don't have kids are bitter or lonely or sad or whatever, and deflecting the conversation or making an excuse that's kind of untrue doesn't help long term. I think the overall setting. I mean, it's personal. It's a personal thing. Whatever you need to do it. But overall, I'm always encouraging people to talk about it when you get to that comfort part in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, Childfree Girls published a reverse natalist bingo card, and we actually took into account the kid in most of these retorts. So we're going to read them for you really quick. If you want to find it, you can go to our Instagram account or our website.
What if you don't like your child?
Parents are happiest once the children move out.
People like you should be activists, not parents.
Babies just turn into adults like us.
All family names will die out eventually.
Won't you burden your child when you're old?
Mm-hmm.
Does the world need another person?
Kids ruin your sex life.
Childbirth or pregnancy can kill you.
Why not adopt one in need?
Once you have them, you can't change your mind.
What if having a child doesn't fulfill you?
Ouch.
Do your parents really need grandchildren?
Won't you miss having free time?
What if they don't like you?
Children are so expensive.
Your child could grow up to be a mess.
That's my favorite.
Are you right for such an important job?
What if your partner leaves?
Your other goals will suffer.
A child's medical issues could break your spirit.
Aren't you worried about postpartum depression?
Children add stress to a marriage.
What if you regret it?
It's possible.
It's possible. That was our reverse natalist bingo. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you would like to send us a note, our email address is childfreegirls@gmail.com.
We also have a website, which is childfreegirls.com. And of course, you can find us all over social media. We are at Childfree Girls on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. TikTok apparently is getting banned, so don't find us on there.
China. And at the end of every episode, we ask you a question. So our question for you today is, what would your reverse natalist bingo be? Whether a question or a statement. Leave your answer down there, wherever it is you are watching this. If you're listening to it, then you can send it to us in an email or go to our YouTube channel and just kind of leave it there somewhere.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. No, you say bye.
No, you say bye.
Oh my God, I'm leaving.
You leave first.
I'm going.
Bye.
Bye.